What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new F1 22. It's been a while since I've said this. My Team Career Mode video. You all thought this series was dead. You thought it was extinct. But no, it was just hibernating for a little while I was cooking every other series on the planet in the F1 world. F1 Manager, Co-op, this, but also the Creator Series, which I started up on Saturday nights, 100% League races. It's been a very busy time on the channel, so apologies about the long break. I think it's been like a month. I haven't fallen out with the game. I haven't fallen out with the series. I just had so much going on. This had to take a backward step. The co-op is done. This is back, and it's going to take my focus for a little bit. So let's get into it. In case you missed the last episode, it was Mark Webber's final race in the sport. Unfortunately, he was too old, too slow, and too expensive. So he's got the cut, and it is, in fact, Tiametmarduk from my F1 Manager series, who's been waiting in the wings for the longest time, gets a drive in the mainstay career mode. Felt a little bit bad. We've been developing him in the background on a different game. Hopefully, those stats can transpire over into this series, and they're actually not too bad with the boosts that we're getting from our facilities. Even if you compare the base stats to Mark Webber, he's not too far off. Only 4 points away in terms of pace. He's got better awareness. Racecraft isn't too much slower. And experience, we don't really need that at this stage. So we're going to continue to invest in the facilities. We've actually saved 6 mil by going with Portier, meaning we can explore other opportunities, other areas of development, and just bring him up to speed, and the car up to speed so much quicker. But before we get into this career mode proper, I want to let you guys know that this video is sponsored by the legends at Nvidia. Nvidia have been kind enough to send me their latest GeForce RTX 4090. It's Nvidia's newest GPU based on the Ada Lovelace architecture. The RTX 4090 is the most powerful gaming GPU ever made and can deliver 4K high frame rate ray tracing action. F1 22 supports ray tracing and Nvidia's new AI boosting technology called DLSS 3. DLSS 3 uses AI to boost performance massively in F1 22, and I'm going to show you how. So this is my first test. I went to Spain on F1 22, running at native 4K with absolutely max settings and ray tracing enabled. We were getting an average of 69 frames. Now we're going to enable DLSS Super Resolution, formerly known as DLSS 2. DLSS 2 uses AI to boost performance by rendering the game at a lower resolution and then upscaling it using AI to 4K, all the while maintaining or improving image quality. You can use this on a 20, 30, or 40 series RTX GPU. And finally, we're going to enable DLSS frame generation, which is an RTX 40 series exclusive feature that uses AI to generate entirely new frames. As this is done on the GPU side, it can bypass other PC bottlenecks like the CPU to massively boost performance. So we went from native 4K at 69 FPS average to 193 average FPS at 4K max settings and ray tracing on. So click the link down in the description to check out the GeForce 4090, and you could be playing F1 22 at native 4K with high frame rates and ray tracing. So that's the graphics card I've been using for literally the last few weeks, month or so, and it's honestly been a game changer for me. I'm really happy to have that. So big shout out to Nvidia for sponsoring this video. It gives me just so much headroom to really crack on and make these videos in the best quality possible for you guys. So yeah, it's great to be on max settings again. But back to this career mode, and as you can see, we are in the thick of it in the driver's standings. It's been a bit of a up and down season with a couple of DNFs, a few wins here and there, but we need a bit of consistency, I think, and hopefully we can get a little bit of that heading into the Dutch Grand Prix, which is this video's episode. So let's get into it. This was actually filmed a month ago, so a lot of what you're going to see is filmed a long time ago, so I don't really know what was going through my head at the time with strategies and decision making. So yeah, there's a lot of this race that I actually don't remember. So I'm looking forward to just going through and enjoying it with you guys as well. So we'll see how we go. But we have a gearbox upgrade, which only cost us minimal amount of resource points. So we're running out of things we can actually upgrade on this car. We need Spec 3 on quite a few of our facilities. So hopefully that'll be the benchmark we aim for the rest of this season. Absolutely flatline for the bottom 4 teams there. We haven't really upgraded much heading into this race. McLaren shoot to the best car. Good progress there from Mercedes as well, Red Bull, and of course Ferrari, who don't make any progress heading into this race. Going to be tough for them to break into the top 4 teams now with that runaway lead they are building. But yeah, McLaren are the best car again, and they're, to be honest, our biggest threats of taking the title away from us in the drivers. Let's get into qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix. Alright, so time for the Dutch Grand Prix. This is also the debut for French driver Théo Pourchaire. Like I said, been waiting in the wings for like 3 seasons in F1 Manager. Finally get to go today. So there is benefit to being in the Marduk Motorsport Academy after all. That's probably the first time I've ever mentioned the Academy. But it's a thing. And let's see how our first graduate gets on in his very first race. Chucking him straight into the deep end. No upgrades really on the car to speak of, but hopefully once we get Spec 3 on our engine, our chassis, whatever, we can start to make some progress in the right direction. Already out qualifying the boss on his first attempt in qualifying 1. That is that going to piss me off or is that going to make me happy? I'm actually not too sure. But either way, he's got pace, and that's what we need. That's what we've been lacking in our other car throughout most of this season. I think Webber's best result was a P7, so if he keeps that up, then Théo is looking very good for the seat long term. Either way, second run in Q2, and we go into the 9s. This, like I said, was filmed a month ago, so this is filmed before the league race. I did a league race around here last weekend, 100% race. I really could have done with having that practice before going into this one, so I feel like we'd be even quicker. But regardless, we'll see how we get on. P10, and at the moment, we're on the bubble. And it doesn't look like we're going to improve. We're down by 1/10.5 on our used compound tyres, that being the softs. We backed up and did a second lap on these. I was pushing very hard, knowing that the lap probably wasn't going to be bettered. So I went full send and we went over the limit. So that was the session, to be honest. We're currently in P10. No, make that P11. We are knocked out at the death here in Zandvoort. So is Lewis Hamilton as well, in the Mercedes, no less, which is had upgrades heading into this race. And Hamilton is out. That is an absolutely huge result. I think it was one of the Alpines that potentially knocked him out. So we head into the race with some big shocks.
For years, the passionate Dutch fans have been easy to find trackside in races across Europe. Here this weekend, it's even easier to find the Dutch fans as they have a race to call their own once again. A warm welcome to all of our viewers in the Netherlands and around the globe, of course, as we get underway for the Dutch Grand Prix. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Fernando Alonso yesterday puts him on pole position, and Robert Schwartzman completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Max Verstappen and Perez, Magnussen, Ocon, Théo Pourchaire and Lewis Hamilton, Benjamin, Gasly, George Russell and Norris. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Albon, Tsunoda, Guan Yu Zhou and Mick Schumacher. Oscar Piastri, Tictum, Latifi and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close.
So it's McLaren domination to start this one. 1-2 for those guys. Lando Norris getting a grid penalty, remembering he's in the Ferrari in this season of career modes. So it's going to be an interesting one to see if we can fight our way back through. I've opted not to take any engine penalties because we are on the fringes of the top 10. There's still a lot we can do from this position. And by the way, Zandvoort is one of those really hard tracks to overtake, which you'll find out about from our Creator League race around this place. So, yeah, you don't want to be chucking yourself at the back, even though we have a pretty quick car, and the gulf between the top teams and the bottom teams is massive, by the way. We still don't want to let the leaders get too far away because we are in a championship fight with Alonso, with Schwartzman, potentially with Lando Norris as well. There's many points to be gained out of this race, and I want to give myself the best chance possible to fight our way through. And by the way, I think our engine allocation, our bank of components is actually quite good on this car. So let's get ready to go racing again in my team career mode for the first time in a month. Away we go, and it's been a pretty rusty start. There's no excuses because me actually driving this was done a month ago, but we'll gloss over that. Heading into turn 1, getting up the inside of the Haas. George Russell in the mud, thank you very much. That is us back up into P12. Lando Norris in the Ferrari, losing place as we go right around the outside of Gasly there. We're trying to get the better exit, bit of momentum, and not quite getting the move done. We'll have the inside for the next right-hander. This is on Lewis Hamilton, up the inside. We pretty much wash out with understeer a little bit there, trying not to run into the side of that Mercedes. That would be catastrophic on this first lap, with all the cars behind us lining us up to run into the back of us if any shenanigans goes on. P9 to start this race. We've effectively taken our teammate's position in this one. He dropped a couple of places, unfortunately, but hopefully he's got the pace to run on through and follow us along. Here comes Pourchaire up the inside of Hamilton now. On his first race on the Formula 1 grid, he is fighting away with one of the greatest of all time. That is a sign of a future champion right there. Théo Pourchaire he means business in this first race, and he's only just getting settled now. Meanwhile, for us, we're currently chilling. We're trying to get in the DRS of Esteban Ocon. We've underfueled the car quite a bit, 2 laps underneath. You can see that's our teammate fighting away with Hamilton once again. I think he does get the position this time. He'll have to leave the inside open for Hamilton because he's still kind of there. He does maintain the position, but later on gets overtaken by not only Hamilton, but Lando Norris as well in the Ferrari. So Théo going back now to P12, I believe it is. But those guys are all... He's in very quick company, shall we say. Meanwhile, in Tiametmarduk land, we've been backing off quite a lot. I've realized that the fuel burn is actually quite drastic in this car around this track. We're 2 laps underfueled, and we're actually losing fuel every single lap. Even with our fuel efficiency upgrades, it's still not enough. So at this stage, we've taken it upon ourselves early to start saving fuel. And it goes from bad to worse for the team because this is an unscheduled stop. Théo Pourchaire into the pit lane already. That was one of the engineers kicking their desk. Very good. With some front wing damage for Théo. So that's an unscheduled stop. And basically Marduk Motorsport in the mud. Despite us being in the points at this stage, P9 and 2 points against our name. But unless we fuel save drastically, we aren't actually going to make it to the end. Which is a real shame. There might be a safety car, and if there is, that's absolutely going to save us. But for now, we are going to save fuel as much as we can to make sure we can just make it. As you can see, the Ferrari going up our inside into Sector 3. We hold the position, actually. It's a bit messy. It's a bit awkward. But we managed to hold on just about here on lap 12. Running through the last couple of corners. Lando looking very quick at this stage. He's going to get the DRS on the start-finish straight. This is the best overtaking opportunity for the AI to get past. And Lando wastes absolutely no time. Here comes Hamilton as well in the Mercedes. Round the outside into turn 1. We try and get that position back, which we do. No fuel saving there for us. No lifting and coasting on this occasion, which we have been doing quite a bit of in the last few laps. But now we need to actually make sure we can get some points and fuel save at moments that aren't going to cost us too much. So now we're in the slipstream at Lando. We can afford to probably lift off a little bit more, but we're not choosing to do that. We're choosing to actually re-overtake the Ferrari up the inside into turn 1, and that is P9 for the taking. Once again, the tyre wear is if you guys remember, it's pretty harsh in this career mode now. I think there's been a regulation change, which has meant that the races are now 2-stop races, but we're trying to stretch to make it a 1. We're going to box at the end of this lap, and we're going to go to the hard compound tires, rounding the penultimate corner. We had a puncture on the front right, and that's going to cause major issues. Which it has. We are out of the Dutch Grand Prix through almost no fault of our own. This was this pit window? I'm not too sure. We were just cruising. We were pretty much a passenger heading into that banked barrier around the last corner. I want you guys to focus on my steering input here. It's not like I straightened out the steering. I was going fairly slow and I was turning full lock right, but the car was going straight. Absolutely nothing we could have done in that scenario. It all happened pretty much instantaneously. We lose the tire right there, and we're already turning right. There's nothing more I could have done. Maybe I could have slammed on the brakes, but I think we were still going into that barrier regardless. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. Fernando Alonso wins the Dutch Grand Prix. We needed a safety car. We needed a result. We needed something in that race to spice it up. And I didn't think I would be the one who would completely alter the course of that race. Alonso celebrates like he's winning the championship almost. And maybe it is a sign of things to come for the McLaren team. Big points for Alonso. Maximum points. 26 taken out of this race today. And his main championship rival, in fact, both of his championship rivals, because Schwartzman didn't finish either. Didn't get any points. So that's a massive swing in Alonso's favor for this driver's championship. Leclerc not getting any points either. So it's a pretty significant result for the Spaniard, for the Woking-based team. Let's have a look at the driver's standings. It is still in our favor, but by only 3 points. The top 4 drivers separated by 10 points. Lando's still in there as well, despite having a bit of a shaky weekend. But yeah, it's definitely thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, this Dutch Grand Prix. We're not going anywhere either, by the way. We're going to press on and do the next Grand Prix, that being the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. Constructors standings, 90 points shy of McLaren. It's not a good race for us, to be fair. I think Teo did get in the points in the end. P10, P9, something like that. So, points on his debut. Can't complain about that. Tough track to overtake as well, and he didn't get the rub of the green off the start. He lost a couple of positions, and maybe we were holding him up in all of our shenanigans, getting to the end, trying to save fuel. Either way, it was a bit of a mudded Grand Prix, a bit of a cursed one. Like I said, I filmed it a month ago, so I can't really tell you what I was thinking. But clearly, I wasn't thinking very much. It seems. Let's head to Monza. Let's have a refresh. Again, this race as well was done off the back of that Dutch Grand Prix. So, again, we're in the similar scenario where I have no idea what I was thinking. So, that's going to be my excuse if anything goes wrong. Marketing events. This is choosing our rival for the upcoming races. We've got a choice of Max Verstappen, Leclerc, or Sainz. Don't know why, but none of the McLaren drivers on offer to choose, which is what I would have gone for. They are our true rivals in this season of career modes. So, each to their own. We head to the next Grand Prix, and we're probably going to boost the focus of our teammate, make sure that stays nice and high. We get some research and development points for something that went wrong with the chassis. Did that cause the puncture? Premature wear of the tires? I'm not too sure. But either way, some issues and things that need to be ironed out in this car. Fitness Center Analysis Suite, that's going to be done before the Italian Grand Prix. So Teo Porcher's stats are going to get boosted even further heading into this race, which we can look forward to that. In terms of the chassis side, we're going to do a ultimate weight redistribution upgrade. And that'll come on in time for the Singapore Grand Prix. So the balance of the car is going to be very, very nice indeed. Looks like we already have Spec 3 in terms of the aero, but also chassis as well. Because pretty much all those upgrades are nearly maxed out. So I think it's the engine side that only needs Spec 3 now, and then we can crack on. So this car is actually more developed than what I thought it was. We're pretty much near the ceiling. We just need to do those final few upgrades, which are really going to throw us amongst the top teams. Our durability is certainly lacking, so we're going to do a electrical systems upgrade. I think we did a gearbox upgrade for the last race, but that didn't go on. That failed. Maybe that'll go on in time for this race. I'm not too sure. But those are the updated stats of Teo Porcher. 91 pace is nothing to scoff at. So he's going to be up there mixing it with the best. We just need to give him a car that can deliver on every weekend as well. Ferrari bring big upgrades heading into their home race. McLaren not really moving it anywhere either. We have small gains, but we need to do our talking on the track. Right then, Monza, Italian Grand Prix, qualifying straight into Q1 with a P2. Lando looking very tasty as well. The pace, Q2, we have a bit of rain to completely throw the form book out the window as well. We've done a banker lap which sees us get P3. Leclerc comes out of the pit lane purely to spite us to get in the way, which was not ideal. We still get through to qualifying 3 anyway on our banker lap. So that was nice, but again, the rain continues in Q3, and you know, with the way that we've set up the car, I think we're running like 9.6 wings. It is an absolute disaster for having any confidence in the rain, particularly those high-speed corners where you need that trust, that faith in the car that it's going to stick, and I wasn't overly sure it was going to stick, to be honest, so we were really just hoping for the best when we were driving out there, continually improving lap on lap on lap. But unfortunately, we sustained some underbody damage. We ran over a curb, like we usually do. There was nothing bad. I was just using the curbs like you can on this game, and we got some phantom. I say phantom underfloor damage. There's the odd chance that that can happen on simulation damage, and it affected us. We missed out on the final run of that session, and to be honest, with that damage, it probably held us up on the straights. You get a bit more drag. You also lose downforce. So overall, probably explains the lack of pace compared to our teammates. So we need some luck in the race.
It's time for the Italian Grand Prix once again, here at the beloved and iconic Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. With the lowest downforce and drag of any circuit in the season, expect to see drivers making the most of the slipstream effect here today.
Race time then. If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you smash the like button. If you are new and not seen my videos before, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That'll really help me out. Both the support on this series would really help me in getting it out more quickly to you guys. Now the co-op is done, this series will be much more frequent than once a month. I can definitely promise you that. Anyway, it is the Italian Grand Prix. We have a potential one stop on our hands, but I don't really trust the strategy anymore based on what happened in Zandvoort only 10 minutes ago. But if there's any place we can do a one stop, then maybe this is the one. We'll have to assess the tyre wear as we see fit throughout this Grand Prix, but we're going to do mediums. We can go softs if we are feeling really bold, or we could just do a one stop on the hards, potentially even go medium, soft, like we do in our league races. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Italian Grand Prix. Looks like an okay start. Second phase is always not the best. Hamilton gets the run on us heading into turn 1. We'll see if we can go late under brakes, hit up the inside of him, which we do. 3 cars overtaken into turn 1, round the outside of the Ferrari, and that is P6 for the taking in this Italian Grand Prix. Quite a good turnaround after the initial laggy start for us. We can pretty much kick on with this, and Alonso, the next car up the road, our main rival in this championship, is within our reach. We go round the outside of the Spaniard into Ascari, and to be honest, I'd like to big myself up there, but I've got to say, that's all on Alonso. Alonso playing it super cautious, heading into that left-hander, had the inside on Gasly, I think it was, but just completely backed out of the move way too much and allowed us to swoop round his outside. So we'll take that. P5 now for the taking. Ocon, Perez, and Norris all squabbling away while it's, I think, Verstappen running away with this race. It is, of course, it is Verstappen. Absolutely flying in this one. Norris going super defensive heading into turn 1. Ocon looking for a gap up the inside. We're just going to chill in behind. Thankfully, no Alex Gillon to take us out at turn 1 while we're being patient. And we actually managed to gain a position out of that. Ocon displaced down to P5. So not a bad start, guys. We seem to have a lot of straight line speed in this race. We have set up the car for overtaking and dry running pace, which we see the fruits of now. Perez getting very aggressive, as we've seen throughout this game's life cycle. He actually gave Norris some damage on the left-hand end plate, so that Ferrari could see itself into the pit lane at the end of this lap for an unscheduled stop. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Verstappen, 2.9 seconds clear and setting fastest laps at will. Unable to beat it on this occasion. Here comes Norris. He's actually looking pretty pacey in a straight line thanks to that lack of downforce on the front. He gets up the inside, and I can't really fight that one. I didn't want to fight that one. And yeah, he takes the place back. I think they've got more brake upgrades, the AI, than us. After the last couple of years, the brake upgrade glitches, I've been a bit wary about upgrading the brakes fully. And so that's definitely an area of improvement we could work on. So let me know if that's actually fixed on F122. I'm not too sure. But hence why that was why Lando was able to get us into turn 1. Long-winded speech over. We actually managed to get him back with a nice little switchback and into P2 in this Monza race once again. Holding the inside. Let's absolutely protect this position and set after Max Verstappen, who is absolutely flying in this one. 2.7 seconds. We actually are catching, despite the battling, despite the squabbling. DRS has been a big help with that, but now it's down to us solely to chase down Max Verstappen in that Red Bull to win this race. There's a bit of pace. 19.4 last time by, despite the crazy tire wear in this series. Now the regulation change really making things interesting and spicing it up. I actually like it, to be fair. I like that there's more strategy in these races now. There's a bit more jeopardy as to making a one-stop work. Apparently we're stopping this lap. There's been a strategy change. Lap 7 coming in for another set of mediums. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But at the moment, we're going to keep stretching this until Verstappen comes in. I imagine when he comes in, he's going to face a little bit of traffic. There's our first warning for track limits in this race. Really trying to push the limits here. Trying to get within undercut range, DRS range of Verstappen. I just want to be close enough to be annoying in the mirrors. Verstappen carries on for another lap. We are coming in for the undercuts. I don't like to undercut. Not usually, because it does put me in traffic sometimes, or it makes me have slower tires for the rest of the race, but I think this is a necessary evil. One lap undercut could see us within DRS range if we have a great rest of this lap. Out we come, and there's actually no traffic to speak of apart from Lance Stroll, who goes up the inside into turn 1. By the way, he had so much space on the left-hand side of the circuit. He goes, nah, let's throw safety out the window and go for an unnecessary move up the inside. I mean, fair play. He made that look very impressive. I was fearing for my life a little bit there. Norris is out of the Grand Prix. Ferrari are not having a good one. Once again, Norris out of the Grand Prix. Is there going to be a safety car? That would help out Max Verstappen massively. So let's avoid that if at all possible. Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a local yellow, and the marshals are just going to take him away quietly. Anyway, Stroll next, and that is, again, threading the needle, but not quite as bad. P14, any response from Max? No, he carries on for another lap, as does the McLaren, as does the Mercedes. In P3, we are banking some faster laps here. We are making it rain. Making it rain? Yeah, we're making it rain with faster slaps. That's not the analogy I was going for, but it's one that I'll take nonetheless. Up the inside of another Aston Martin. Albon this time. Purple to the first sector. Gasly up next. We'll get basically piggybacked along with all these cars, giving us slipstream, giving us DRS. I would have thought that an undercut wouldn't really... Of course it's going to work, but I thought we'd get held up. In fact, the opposite is actually happening. This traffic is speeding us along. It's actually propelling us towards Max Verstappen, who now responds. I think maybe a little too late here. I think we're going to get the jump on this guy. He goes on to soft compound tires, so that confirms that the AI, or at least Max Verstappen, is doing a two-stop in this race. Softs are not going to make it to the end. He's done well to stretch the mediums to lap 10, by the way. And here he comes, out on the circuit. We have taken the lead of the Italian Grand Prix with 16 laps remaining. That is absolutely huge. Verstappen has to stop again. He's in our slipstream. He's up behind us. And we're going to do everything in our power to hold him up. But he's so quick in a straight line. Look at that. With DRS, arguably, I wouldn't even say he was slipstreaming us. He was pulling out of the slipstream and was so quick in a straight line. Even on this straight, with no DRS. That is the power of the Red Bull powertrain's power engine. Oh my God, I can't speak. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm rusty on the post commentary. It's been a month. Chat. Well, you're not chat. There's no chat here. This is YouTube. This is strictly YouTube. And this is strictly good racing heading into turn one. Nice little battle with Verstappen. We get up the inside and manage to fend him off with a bit of DRS. Thankfully, we're taking the best of his tyres out right now in squabbling with us. I imagine we're going to be stopping at a pretty similar point, around lap 20, lap 19 to get to the end. Maybe we could go to softs to get us to the end, medium, soft. Whereas Verstappen is probably going to go back to mediums or maybe even hards to see out this race. There's a lot still up in the air and there could be safety cars. You never quite know. Here comes Verstappen again, round the outside. This time with DRS, we can't really fight that. Thankfully, he's not going to get away too much. There's only 2 corners, and that's a massive snap for Verstappen on the exit of Ascari. But despite that horrible exit for him, we're barely gaining on him. There's a bit of a slipstream effect at the back end of the straight. But, yeah, not the huge gains I was expecting after that poor exit from Verstappen. A poor exit from me now sees us on our second warning in this race. Verstappen gets re-overtaken by us, and there's the DRS kicking in. So into the lead once more. We are last of the late breakers, leaving a bit of space on the inside for Verstappen. Leclerc is flying on his soft compound tyres as well. So Leclerc could buy his way into this fight as well if we continue to just frustrate and get in the way of Max Verstappen. This is working into our hands quite nicely. Because, yeah, he's on the best tyres right now, and he's not getting anything out of this stint. He's just getting frustrated. Around the outside we go on Max Verstappen. He's surely using a lot of battery there to try and get the lead here. He does. And it's only going to be short-lived because we're going to get DRS again on this straight. Do we fancy? No, we don't fancy going for it. We just settle in behind another snap of oversteer on the exit of Ascari. He's defending hard, heading into Parabolica. Round the outside we go. With each passing lap, with each passing corner, we get stronger relative to Max Verstappen. A bit of a bad exit there out of the last corner from Verstappen gives us 1 lap's worth of breathing room. A whole lap, which was absolutely huge on those tyres. Here comes Verstappen now. He's opted to probably charge his battery on that last lap. And is now going for it once again. 12 to go, and we are positioning ourselves quite nicely for the race victory here. To bounce back after the disappointment in Zandvoort, we are looking the goods today. Holding back Verstappen, holding back his pace. Alonso buying his way to this fight as well. Only 2 seconds behind on the medium compound tyres. If anything, maybe letting Verstappen go might be the lesser of the 2 evils. We don't want Alonso to have any sniff of getting ahead of us in this race. But it is time to box at the end of this one. We're going to go to softs, but softs probably won't make it to the end from here. So what we're going to do is we're going to carry on an extra lap or 2. Verstappen is now in and is going to mediums. The AI seemingly dealing with their tyre wear quite well in this regulation era of this season. We're going to take a bit of pain while Verstappen is undercutting us on fresh medium tyres. You can see our mediums are dying off quite badly here. 73%. They're going up a percentile every corner. Such is the harshness of these tyres. I think we have to respond because we're going to be dipping into puncture territory, and we don't want that after what happened in Zandvoort. Another puncture heading into Ascari. We are out of the Grand Prix. We are in the gravel. We might not be able to dig ourselves out of trouble here. We are out of this Grand Prix effectively in this race. We're not out of the race, but we are out of the running of winning this race with that massive tire puncture at the worst time. We are actually able to dig ourselves out of the gravel and get going again. No safety car, no VSC, but we have to limp our way back to the pit lane with our tail between our legs, and we can't even go to soft compound tires. It is the tires are barely going the distance as they are at this stage on mediums. Softs have no chance of getting to the end from here, so we're gonna have to go hards just to get to the end. As well, to add insult to injury, our floor is damaged. So that happened on the way into the gravel trap with the car sitting lower to the ground with a puncture. So that's just great. P9 and yet to make a pit stop. Science is in the lane. I think, to be fair, actually, okay. Our saving grace is that this is a 2-stop race. Everyone still has to stop again. So we are going to be on the fringes of the top 10. That's not going to cost us too much. And hopefully we can fight our way back from here. But it's going to be very tough to fight back with hard compound tires and the floor damage. We saw potentially how much it was holding us back in qualifying. It gives us extra drag and less downforce. And this is a place with our low wings. We need all the downforce and drag efficiency we can get. So, yeah, not ideal. A bit of an incident there at the first chicane. A couple of people getting tangled up with each other. George Russell in the Haas is out of the Grand Prix. And that is our get-out-of-jail-free car. The safety car has been deployed in this Italian Grand Prix. I thought about going to softs, but because of the damage, I'm not sure we'll actually be able to overtake cars, even on the softs. I'm not too sure. What I'm trying to do here is just make sure we get any track position we can, and then maybe dive bomb people off the safety car restart, and then basically park the bus from there. I'm not sure if we actually physically have enough pace, even on softs, to fight our way back. And even if we go to softs, there's no guarantee we'd probably get to the end without a puncture. So, yeah, there's something clearly going wrong on the engineering side with our car. Are we being too aggressive with the tires? We have to think about camber now? Are we being too greedy with that? That's a genuine consideration. Tire pressures, all up in the air. It's certainly something we'll need to think about in the break between this race and the next. But we're getting ready for the restart here for this Italian Grand Prix. 4 laps remaining. Make that 3 now as we cross the line and get up the inside of Lewis Hamilton with a lot of battery dump here on this start-finish straight. Let's see if we can get Schwartzman into turn 1. Oh, he moves in the braking zone. So dangerous from the McLaren driver. We go around the outside of the Ferrari, who has a terrible line on corner exit of the first chicane. That allows Leclerc to get us back, and potentially even Schwartzman as well. We're going to dump even more battery on this run into the second chicane. And you can see even the straight line speed advantage we have on these guys, even with the floor damage. It's pretty crazy. We go around the outside of Leclerc and take P7 in this race. P7, 6 points. That's actually pretty huge considering where we were only a few laps ago. We were stuck in a gravel trap with only 3 wheels on our wagon, looking at no point in this race. And it looks like we might actually be able to fight back even further in this one as Magnussen, Verstappen, Sainz all squabbling further up the road. We're heading on to the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, and there could be more up for grabs here if people get stuck into each other. Sainz going defensive heading into turn 1. Magnussen looking to dive bomb a couple of people. Sainz goes in super deep, locks up the outside front, and runs into the side of Magnussen. So Sainz has got damage. Verstappen and Magnussen are running side by side, potentially rubbing tyres as well. We get Perez in all that shenanigans and get P6. And it's not even over yet because they're still side by side. Sainz going defensive with its damaged right wing. Verstappen locks up side by side between him and Magnussen. We undercut Verstappen, and somehow we're going to have a run on the Alpine driver of Magnussen and potentially have a top 4 on the cards. Round the outside goes Magnussen and gets squeezed out by us, rightly so. There's no way we're going to leave these guys an inch in this one. We need all the advantage we can get. Magnussen going slowly at the Ascari corner, and it looks like he's got front wing damage and is retiring from the Grand Prix. Very weird circumstances, like with Norris, who also had front wing damage, but was seemingly retiring as well. So clearly some issues we don't know about. Could be a gearbox, but yeah, very strange. At basically the end of the race, gotta just carry on at that point, risk the component damage just to get a result, especially with how elevated he was in this race. But it's the last lap of the Grand Prix. Verstappen has now found his feet, I think, and we're going to have to go defensive here on the Red Bull driver. You can see he's having a nice little run at us. We're going to go defensive and absolutely cover off a dive bomb, even at Ascari, which is not really an overtaking corner. We know how quick that Red Bull is, so we just got to defend at every opportunity, because that thing, it's an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. Going defensive again into the last corner on the last lap. We're going to steal P4 out of this Italian Grand Prix when only 10 minutes ago we were looking at nothing. What a recovery.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix, an historic race and an achievement they can be immensely proud of. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
GG's, Fernando. He never managed to win here as a Ferrari driver, but I'm sure winning in the McLaren is pretty sweet too, given the context of where he's at in this season. So, what a race, guys. I don't know what to say. We managed to fraud our way to P4 in this race, despite less than 10 laps ago, we were facing backwards in a gravel trap with a puncture. And with floor damage, major floor damage. I think there was something wrong with the rear diffuser as well. Many issues, but we got so lucky in those dying laps with the AI getting desperate, getting punchy. We just managed to carve our way through quite efficiently, to be honest, and made the most of it. So we'll take that. Good bout of points. I actually, in that confusion, didn't look at where Porsche ended up, but I hope it was somewhere decent. He's got 1 point against his name in the driver's standings. He's demoted Nicholas Latifi to P23 in a 22-man championship. So there's that. But regardless, what a Grand Prix. What an episode to return to. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See plenty more racing game content. This is bit of the Puncture Gate episodes. Bit controversial. But yeah, let's get a handle on it. Maybe be a bit more conservative with our strategies going forward. As I said, I filmed this a month ago, so I don't really know what I was thinking at the time. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what I was thinking there. But yeah, we'll maybe go harder on the tyre compounds. Have an extra set of hards to utilize to make these two stops more viable. Looks like maybe we shouldn't be touching the softs at all anymore, or at least attempting to stretch tires to get to softs. That seems a bit risky for me, but we're heading to Singapore next, and even still, that race is borderline 2-stop possible. It might even be a 3-stop, given these tire regulations. So that's going to be interesting. Grand Prix, one of the longest on the calendar, in fact, the longest on the calendar. So join me for then, hopefully very soon. And yeah, let's get our championship back on track. We're trailing by 10 points to Fernando Alonso, which, you know, all things considered, isn't a disaster given the recent set of races we've had. So let's bounce back strong. I love Singapore. It's a good track. And I'm expecting more spicy drama to see out the end of this My Team season. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon for more career mode.